everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Terrence.
What's up? I'm back.
Carrie.
What up?
Terrence is back, and Carrie is back. Micah is not here. Micah has the week off, but Terrence has all moved in. There's not going to, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're not going to see that weird bright light in the back of Terrence's frame anymore because he's not recording it in his bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, we're professionalizing the shit out of this thing.
Right.
Professionalizing.
I just woke up, y'all. I'm not even.
And Carrie and I were on. We're wondering where Terrence is. Terrence sends a message to our Facebook chat that says, "I fell asleep." That's
It's ridiculous.
I told Terrence that was the most Murtaugh ass shit that I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh Lord,
Getting too old.
Yeah.
So we're gonna mix up the format a little bit this week because it's been a slow news week, and Carrie and I have been playing the shit out of Octopath Traveler. So we're gonna save that till the end of the podcast, give you very detailed impressions, because now that I'm like 11 hours in, I can talk more succinctly about it than I could last week, and we tied that into question of the week. So expect that later. Terrence, have you been playing anything new lately that you wanted to talk about?
No. Dragon Ball.
Playing more No Man's Sky. Or are you waiting for the update to come out?
I'm waiting for the update.
Okay.
I don't know if it comes out to midnight or what, but
It's this week, though, right?
It's tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might actually play a little bit of that.
Like they've got a third-person view. They've got multiplayer, full-player co-op.
Wow, so like it's finally the game
what
that
Yeah.
it should have been 2 years ago.
We'll see.
They did an interview with Sean Murray on Waypoint Radio, so I really want to.
Sean, he showed his face again.
Now that the game is finished, he can come out of the cave that he was hibernating and take the slings and arrows. Because now, when people sling and arrow him, he can say, "Yes, but my game is done now. It's finished.
Right.
You can't be upset with me anymore."
After 24 months. Market. Like that last update actually was really good. Like it's surprising how much they added to that last update. And this is coinciding with the release of the Xbox One version.
Yeah.
So and if you have it on the PS4, you get the update for free. Every update has been for free, of course, because like they gave you a third of a game when it first came out. So there you go.
Thanks, Sean.
Look forward to that. Looking forward to hearing Terrence's impressions next week of that. So housekeeping before we get into it. Go to youtube.com/densepixels, click the red subscribe button, and ring the bell. That way you get notified whenever we post new video episodes, which usually go up at 11 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays of this podcast, plus whatever other nonsense we post on that YouTube channel. So again, youtube.com/densepixels. Also, if you are not a premium member with TNP Studios, remedy that immediately. It's densepixels.com/premium. It costs just $5 a month or $50 for the entire year. That gets you access to new and all the back episodes of the Look Forward Political Podcast, the Airing of Grievances, the Men with the Golden Tongues, and No Time to Bleed. We do have the Austin Powers episode of Men with the Golden Tongues dropping probably as you're listeing to this. It should be.
Oh no. Are you doing the other two?
No, they're not. The other two are not worth doing.
Oh no.
Spy Who Shagged Me, maybe we could be convinced to do that one. There's no way in hell that we're doing Goldmember.
Oh, I liked Goldmember.
Goldmember sucks. It is awful.
Well, I did like the shittiest Bond movie, so you can bring me in for the shittiest Austin Powers movie.
There's a lot of other movies we want to get to before.
All right, well,
Consider Goldmember, but we talk about why Goldmember sucks.
Okay,
So you can.
great.
But yeah, again, $5 a month. Try it out. If you're not convinced, put down the $5. Get one less Starbucks coffee this month. Try it out. We guarantee you'll be back for the other 50. And then no matter what podcatching device or app you use, be it Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Podbean, whatever, subscribe to this show and subscribe to the other TNP Studio shows, which includes the Nerdpocalypse, Black on Black Cinema, and Coming Distractions, and infiltrate your ears with all this podcasting goodness that we give you on a weekly basis. So new releases. As we mentioned before, the No Man's Sky next update is releasing, coinciding alongside the release of the game on Xbox One tomorrow or today as you're listening to this. The Mega Man X Legacy Collection releases on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Train Sim World, if you've ever wanted to build your own railroad line, like a modern one, comes to PS4 and Xbox One. Banner Saga 3 comes to PS4 and Xbox One. Hello Neighbor comes to PS4 and Switch. Of course, it's been out on Xbox One for several months. The Persistence is a new PlayStation VR game that's coming out as well. Digital highlights. There's only one game that I saw that looked up to caliber. It's called Aces of the Luftwaffe Squadron, which is a PS4, Xbox One top-down shooter that is from the World War II era. And the big news from last week in gaming from Comic-Con, Sony did announce and reveal the Spider-Man Edition PlayStation 4 Pro bundle. Again, we are not much for custom consoles on this show, but this is a pretty good-looking system, I gotta say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I have no use for a PS4 Pro, but this looks real nice.
It does. It
really does.
Totally red. It has the white Spider-Man logo on the top of the console, and the controller is red with white D-pad and analog stick.
It's maybe this is just like my graphic artist part of my brain. It's a really pleasing shade of red. Like, it's not as red of a red as Spider-Man's outfit. It's slightly what I would call like maybe like a candy red. It's nice. It's very pleasing. I don't know.
It doesn't offend the eyes. Like the red with the white accent. It looks dope. Like it's not ugly like the rest of them.
Yes. Now the only issue, of course, is that those white analog sticks are going to get fucking filthy.
Yeah.
Those are the first things to go. White analog sticks are nasty.
So anticipate that if you plan on getting it, but it comes out alongside the game on September 7th, and it will cost $3.99, and it will, of course, include the PS4 copy of Spider-Man in the box as well. So that is all your new release announcements. Let me turn the podcast over to Terrence with this week's headlines.
All right. That's right. First up, World of Warcraft requires a game purchase. Oh, no longer requires a game purchase. It's just a subscription. This game has been out for like 15 years.
Yeah. Something like that. It came out when I was in high school.
Yeah. And now you can just download the game for free, I guess.
Yeah. That and all but the most recent expansion also available with this as well. As long as you pay the subscription cost.
I mean, people still play this. Is it still that popular?
I mean, it's still the most popular MMO, undoubtedly. I mean, the popularity of the game has waned by Blizzard standards, but that just means they went from like 10 million active subscribers down to 5.5 million active subscribers, but they still have 5.5 million people paying $15 a month,
right,
to play World of Warcraft. So I don't
know, like,
so good, I guess. No, that's good because you can play it for free.
Yeah. Or you're still paying $15 a month. It's like now you don't have to pay the $35-$40 on top of that just to buy the game to begin with.
Yo, $15 a month on top of your internet subscription. Fuck no.
I've never been big into MMOs in general. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just I never had any interest in World of Warcraft, even, sort of as everyone else I knew at the time was playing it, because I was like 15 or something when that game first came out. So I don't know. I mean, I guess good on Blizzard for doing something they probably should have done 5 or 6 years ago at this point.
I mean, this was an inevitability. They had the battle chest out, which had basically the base game and like the first 5 expansions, I think, at this point, which was like $20 to get that battle chest, to get all that stuff. So the logical progression is just to make that content available for the cost of a sub.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure they'll see a slight uptick in new subscribers that are just curious to try the game now that very small barrier of entry has been eliminated. Whether they stick around or not, we'll see.
Sure. But then again, like, how many new subscribers are they getting? How many new people are purchasing the game to begin with, to be honest with you?
I don't know, because they don't really release that.
Yeah, it's kind of like World of Warcraft, again, has been out for fucking 15 years. Like, how many new people are getting on the ground running? Like,
it could also be lapsed subscribers as well, possibly. People coming back that played it maybe many years ago
and repicking it up.
Sure, especially like to play if they miss a couple expansions, play the new content. Get the character leveled up. Here's what I found egregious about World of Warcraft as a quick aside. So a friend of mine used to play it, and he's getting back into it now because the new expansion is coming out soon. And he told me that in order to migrate your character from one server to another server in World of Warcraft is like $25.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
On top of
Yeah. One time $25 fee. You thought paying $10 to change your fucking gamer tag was highway robbery. That seems insane to me to charge that much money to do that.
$15 a month seems insane to me. And I had to pay for the game to begin with. No.
Yeah, so I'm just looking up the numbers right now. At its peak, World of Warcraft had about 12 million subscribers. I think they're currently estimating about 4.5, 5 million. So certainly a lot of people are still playing this game.
I think this has anything to do with like Fortnite being free and then all of the in-game purchases? And
I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Players, some crazy shit like that.
I can see that.
Hey, we still make so much money, and we're not even charging to download the game.
I didn't put it on the docket, but apparently Fortnite last week crossed $1 billion. Or sorry, let me mic it up. $1 billion of revenue last week total.
You don't even have to pay to play the game.
They got the secret sauce, man. They figured out the formula. So
that's insane to me. I can't. Wow. Anyway, next up, Bungie reveals Solstice of Heroes Destiny 2's summer holiday event.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So it starts next week on the 31st, which we talked about before, but they've finally detailed what different things are going to be available to do during the event. They're going to have Redux missions, which are going to be missions from the campaign that will be altered in some way, shape, or form, probably to make them more difficult. That will get you special rewards if you complete them. It'll be one of the ways that you can upgrade the armor that you get for the Solstice of Heroes. So basically, you're going to get like a really weak set of armor called the Shattered set, which is going to be the same armor that your character started the campaign with. And that's going to drop at 240. And then you can upgrade that to the Rekindled set by playing these story missions, which will bump you up to 340. And then you can upgrade it all the way to the Resplendent set, which is a 400, which is the max. It's the new max power cap right now for any individual piece of equipment. So that's kind of pretty cool. And we talked about the Moments of Triumph part of it already. Those bounties that you've been able to collect will go. You'll be able to cash them in for their prizes as you earn enough rewards points, including a T-shirt that you can order with your gamer tag on it. And they're going to have different events that happen every week to help you get those milestones as well. So cool free update. The last technically, I guess it's the last free update that we're really getting from Destiny, because they're going the Fortnite route and doing the whole annual pass thing now, the battle pass thing, when the new expansion comes out.
Okay. So, I see you playing a lot of that.
I certainly am.
Yeah. Really? Destiny? Okay. Whatever. Still haven't finished God of War, but that's cool.
It's look, I wear
priorities.
My no regrets.
All right. Next up, Antonio Brown is the Madden 19 cover athlete. I don't even know who this is. I haven't watched football in like 4 years.
I know him from Dancing with the Stars.
Wow.
He was real good.
I don't football, so I don't know who's on.
I know. Well, I mean, obviously he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, so I feel a natural inclination to despise him. But I don't know anything about Antonio Brown in general. Terrence, you used to play Madden, did you not?
The last Madden I played was 2004.
But you still played back in the day, right?
I did.
There are 799 overall rated players in this version of Madden, which seems high to me.
In 2004, Michael Vick was the cover.
I don't even think he was.
No, he wasn't 99. His speed was 99.
Right.
which made him unbearable. That's crazy.
Like FIFA, for all the players that are in the FIFA series, FIFA does not have a single 99 rated overall player.
Who's 99?
I don't know, but apparently Antonio Brown is one of them. I know this, but I do remember seeing a news bite or something about that, saying that there were 799 overall players in the game.
Seems a little ridiculous.
It does seem ridiculous.
Like, I don't remember ever seeing 99 rated players at all.
Why also don't they in sports games, do they not use the full scale of ratings? Because like the minimum rating that a player can have in Madden is like 40. Like there's no one in the game that's below a 40 overall.
Because if you were below 40, you don't belong in the fucking NFL. Basically.
I want the worst player in the league to be a 0 and the best player in the league to be a 99. And everyone needs to fall inside of that range.
Riding the bench. Giving people, it's like the water boy. Well, even the water boy. Yeah, I don't. That's strange to me. Like, have we gotten that? Like, really? Are they that good?
I guess I don't know. Like I said, Matt, I find it bizarre that they announced this cover athlete 3 weeks before the game comes out with very little fanfare. I mean, I've seen almost no marketing for Madden whatsoever. Which
I'm not looking for.
It tells me this might be one of the down years for Madden.
Like, I mean, isn't it sort of? Aren't we heading into like what seems to be like the latest as far as down years for like the NFL viewership at large? Like,
not really. Like there was a bit of a misnomer about the decline in live or in NFL viewership. I can't like their viewership was down, but it wasn't because of the reason that everyone thinks. I remember there being an actual reason. I just don't remember what it was. But no, I don't think, and typically the viewership of the NFL hasn't correlated to Madden sales in any way, shape, or form. I think Madden has just been progressively ticking down, especially as 2K has been rising up and has become the premier sports game in the US. I mean, I say 2K overtook Madden a couple of years ago.
I would be inclined to agree with that. I mean, sports games is the same, like year over year.
But there's still a dedicated fan base at those games.
No, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're just so long overdue for like an arcade style football game that maybe the introduction of such a less of a simulation kind of a game may be a shot in the arm that sort of football games at large would benefit from. But I don't play these games, so what do I know?
I heard NBA 2K is in a bit of is in kind of shambles because of that whole my player thing. It's basically you have to pay to make your player better than a 90.
I mean, they still made a fuck ton of money last year.
Yeah, they do, because people are dumb.
Yeah.
Like those VC points, like you almost literally have to buy VC points to make your character worth a damn. Or you can play for 1,000 hours to make them better, which it's basically the what is it? The Star Wars Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, but like they get away with it somehow because
like we said, nobody was happier last year about that Battlefront news than NBA.
Right. Like they literally do the exact
the headlines.
They do the same thing and no one says anything about it, which is pretty terrible actually. But yeah, Madden, whoever this dude is, fine. Don't care. Next up, Nintendo sues to shut down 2 big ROM sites instead of giving people the what they want.
Well,
pay for these ROMs, right? If they had the what is it called? The what is the thing called the eShop or whatever the fuck? Nintendo.
Yeah, the eShop is the current correct term for where you can legally purchase essentially ROMs of older Nintendo titles for your Wii U, your Switch, or your 3DS. I don't really have a problem with this, given sort of, I guess, the size of the 2 sites that were both run by the same person or group of people. I mean,
odd part.
Big issue with them suing instead of sending like a C&D.
The thing is, we don't know that they didn't try sending a C&D first. I think we're assuming that they didn't. But I also think it's basically the suit reads, through the Love ROMs and Love Retro websites, defendants reproduce, distribute, publicly perform, and display a staggering number of unauthorized copies of Nintendo's video games, all without Nintendo's permission. This includes thousands of games developed for nearly every video game system Nintendo has ever produced. I mean, it might have been a situation where it was just so large in terms of the amount of games that were being distributed on these platforms that this proved to be, I guess, a swifter course of action to sue for an injunction rather than simply sending a C&D. So I don't know. It's their property, man.
So they're apparently seeking damages that could be over $100 million, and they're also trying to get the sites shut down. So
I'm pretty sure these guys don't have $100 million to give them.
No,
I don't think they do either.
That's one of those egregious
things. Like, yeah, we want $100 million. All right, fine. You got us. We'll shut it down. Fuck
right.
It.
Like, give us $100 million, or okay, can we settle? Cool, we'll settle for $10,000 and shutting the website down.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll 100% go exactly that route where it'll get settled out of court. Because like, what legal ground do these guys running these sites have to stand on?
Really,
fucking nothing. Like,
it's like, we give people games for free. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. I get it.
The suit says defendants have conducted their online piracy business in willful disregard of Nintendo's rights. The defendants are not casual gamers, but are instead sophisticated parties with extensive knowledge of Nintendo's intellectual property and the video game industry more generally. So it's just like, don't pirate shit, and maybe you won't get sued. Consider that. I don't know.
Yeah, they literally can't say anything.
Right.
The court be like, so what are you here for? What?
I took a bunch of games and I put them on the internet for free.
Oh, is it freeware? No. Oh, okay. What do you got? Like Nintendo?
Right.
It's like shit. Fine. And next up, game order revealed for. Oh, they reviewed the game order for EVO this Sunday. Which
not this Sunday, it's next Sunday, I think.
August 5th. Yeah, it's
Thursday.
Next Sunday.
How's it in August?
End of July, beginning of August. I guess they couldn't get the convention center for the last week in July. So
anyway, they've got the final schedule. First up is Guilty Gear XR Rev 2. My fucking name is so dumb. It just is. Super Smash Brothers Melee, Tekken 7. Really? Yeah. Dragon Ball Fighters, and Street Fighter 5, of course.
So I have some interesting information that came from Joey Cuellar's Twitter feed about this, who also announced these announcements. So apparently Guilty Gear, they gave the nod to over Blaze Blue Tag Battle, despite the fact that Blaze Blue had twice as many entrants for its tournament. It's interesting. Also, DBZ apparently is the game that has the most entrants, period, at EVO.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's more than Street Fighter 5.
First of all, it's a lot more accessible than Street Fighter 5. Probably it's a lot more enjoyable to watch. It just is. Like if a casual person watching, well, maybe I don't know, casual person watching the Street Fighter 5 match, it's like two people. Okay, I see this one getting kicked in the face. I see that person is blocking. This one is getting punched in the face. Dragon Ball Z, it's just fucking chaos.
It is chaos.
Like, you don't know, but it looks. What is visually appealing?
Has this one spiky blonde guy, and he tagged out for another spiky blonde guy, and now the spiky dark-haired guy's coming in, and this other guy has a green dude, and
stuff. I don't play the DBZ fighter game. I'm just excited for the new DBZ movie.
So apparently, Street Fighter scheduled, like the grand final, like the top 8 is scheduled to begin at 11 p.m., which I don't think ESPN's gonna fucking go for. So that'll probably get bumped up, I would imagine.
No,
we'll be on ESPN News.
Yeah.
Night?
Yeah.
On a Sunday?
On a Sunday.
Niggas gotta work here. That doesn't make, I mean, it was pretty late last year. I remember that. It was like
11 Eastern, I should specify, for for all you West Coast.
So yeah, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
But my favorite / rage-inducing tidbit that I have about this EVO lineup. So last year, Smash 4 was the one that was on the main stage for the grand final, and they decided to put Melee on there this year because they said that we put Smash 4 on the main stage for last year's final, and all of the Smash fans didn't come to watch it. Instead, they were too busy watching Melee. Let it go, people.
They won't, man. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you that Melee should just let it die. Just for the love of fuck. Just please let the game die already.
They're putting out the ultimate Smash Brother game to end all Smash Brother games this fall.
People are still gonna say it's not as good as Melee.
Gonna fucking play Melee because they suck.
Yo, you're right.
Wait, which one is Melee?
The second one.
The which one?
The
GameCube
one.
Wow.
Yes. Wow is the correct. Wow is the correct reaction. Wow. That's the reaction to that fucking statement. Terrence, they're re-releasing GameCube controllers for the Switch.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I don't have a problem with that.
That controller's ugly and it's terrible.
I like it.
That's the level of depravity that we've reached with these fucking mutants. They're GameCube controllers.
Well,
that's weird. Like again, the game is fun. I mean, I don't know what the fuck is happening. There's a lot of nonsense going on in that game. I don't know what's happening, but it looks like if you do know what's going on, it's enjoyable. I've seen it. I've seen a couple tournaments, so fine. But like, it's Smash Brothers. Like, there's better looking versions of the same fucking, like the new one that got like 97 characters in it.
Oh, but it doesn't play the same. And
I'm sure
it's not as good.
Imagine if like they were like, man, we know Street Fighter 5 is the game that's current right now and what all the kids are playing, but we really just want to have Street Fighter 2 on the main stage instead.
Like, what?
Right, exactly.
Here's the thing. I don't think I'd be mad about seeing dudes wail on each other in Street Fighter 2 and 2K18.
Not over Street Fighter 5.
No, maybe not.
I feel like you'd feel some kind of way if Street Fighter 2 was the headlining game.
Right.
I don't care enough about fighting games to like have that much of a stake in EVO.
Right.
So.
I'm not saying don't have Melee be at EVO and don't have a Melee tournament, but it doesn't need to be the featured Smash Brothers game on the final day.
Well, apparently this is the world we live in.
Apparently it does.
Yeah, that's stupid. I think Dragon Ball should be the headlining game.
It will never be the headlining game.
It should be.
It will never be.
Johnny
was trying to make that same bullshit argument as well. I was like, do you really think this event that has a lot of financial backing from Capcom is going to have fucking Dragon Ball Fighters as the main event game?
That's the only reason.
It does. Capcom is hugely involved with the production of EVO.
Yeah, that's like
The Namco Bandai wants to pony up a little bit and financially support some shit, then maybe.
Yo, Bandai Namco barely has enough money to seemingly keep the lights on over there sometimes.
Wait,
I don't know how they keep making games.
They're that what? Really?
It's all the gunpla they sell.
I think they just run very frugally. So
yeah.
Oh, they hit the jackpot with this game.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah, because the people, like, again, it deserves to have the top spot, but again, whatever. Ugh.
It's all about the politics game.
I'll watch the Dragon Ball finals and then I ain't watching the Street Fighter. That's too goddamn. Yo, I fell asleep coming home now. Like,
you ain't making it to the end of that main stage.
2:00 in the morning. And especially depending on, well, I couldn't imagine. Your Dragon Ball matches are mad long. I couldn't imagine those finals. It'd be like 7 hours long. Depending on how many people are in there. It's gonna take.
I'm pretty sure they're only gonna like put top 8 on the main stage. I'm pretty sure everything else will be settled.
How long a top 8 will take from fucking Dragon Ball, depending on how good.
Fucking hot minute.
It'll take a while. Like those they give you like 6. I've had 6-minute matches in that game.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm dead serious. I've had matches that have gone like 5 minutes and 40-something seconds.
To put a bow on this topic, I think there was also an unsubstantiated rumor that Cartoon Network was considering picking up the airing of the Dragon Ball finals, which would make sense.
I'd be down with that.
So that'd be kind of dope. That would make it definitely worth it being in the number one. People love Cartoon Network. But anyway, we're done with that. And finally, Fallout 76 beta is coming out in October.
Yay! But it's not really a beta, you know. They sort of released the date that the beta, what they've been calling the break it early test application. Thanks, Todd. It's October, so it's a month-ish before the game releases to the public. So the game's finished at that point. You know, is it really a beta test in the classical sense of what I think we know as a beta, if the game's already finished? I mean, what this really is a stress test for the servers, because this is an online game. That's what it is. And I'm fine with that. But like, it's really a beta.
It's also a Bethesda game, so I'm pretty sure that
people are going to break the shit out of this game. I'm looking forward to breaking this game. I'm also looking forward to continuing to torture all of my GameStop friends with Country Roads.
That song made it to number 1 on the iTunes charts.
The Fallout version?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Fallout version a lot. I like it better than the John Denver version.
I have no opinion on this.
I don't even know what that is.
The West Virginia song?
I have never stepped foot in West Virginia.
That doesn't surprise me.
I was going to say.
I don't think so. I don't know what that is.
It's the song from the trailer.
I don't remember the trailer.
Well,
I don't remember.
I can't help you.
That game.
You've never even driven through West Virginia?
I don't think so. Why would I do that?
We're close enough to it. I feel like you have, at the very least, been present in West Virginia at some point in your life, Terrence.
If you've ever driven west, you've had to have driven.
What movie does Deliverance take place in West Virginia?
No,
Yeah.
Deliverance is in
Georgia.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like the same thing.
I was about to say same damn thing, right? They would take. I thought they were in the fucking. No, I've never been to West Virginia. I can honestly say I've never stepped foot in West Virginia.
In any case, how sick are you, Brad, of hearing Country Roads?
I am not sick anymore.
Because it's not playing 4 times an hour anymore.
When the trailer first started coming out, but
yeah, Maryland. Oh, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, no. I may have flown over it.
I mean, to be fair, you're not missing anything.
No,
at all.
In like incest.
So
I like Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, because I like little antique shops and Civil War stuff because I'm white.
I was about to say, these things you're saying, I don't feel like I'd belong walking into an antiquity shop in the middle of West Virginia.
The first I've been like camping out in the Appalachians in West Virginia.
No, I've been camping one time, and that was with a white friend I had when I was like a kid, and I was like, this is terrible.
Oh, the last time I went camping I was a kid, I was in the Girl Scouts.
I like how I'm going to infer from you saying it the way you said it, that was the last white friend that you had until this network started. So
that is possible. I'm not gonna lie.
From whiteness that you had to endure.
That camping is not for me.
Yeah.
Like running water.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So,
no, I'm looking forward to playing this. I'm looking forward to trying it out with my pals. It appears as though the 76 beta will be starting on the Xbox One for whatever reason, some deal that they struck with Microsoft. In order to get into the beta, you have to pre-order the game. So it's literally just a pre-order incentive, which is fine. But like let's be transparent about it here, shall we?
I'm still sticking with my prediction that this will be a step back from a sales standpoint for the Fallout franchise. I think
I don't disagree with you. Look, I'm about to get fucking double penetrated by Todd Howard and Reggie Fils-Aimé that week. because I got Fallout 76. I got the $200 Power Armor edition pre-ordered, and I have Let's Go Pikachu, the $100 bundle. I'm like, literally, they're coming for my wallet, whether I like it or not. I'm gonna like it.
So Carrie enjoys double penetration. That is found out on this podcast episode.
I can't.
There's nothing wrong with that. So
that's not what I said.
Can we move on, please?
We'll move on to going to denspixels.com/Amazon whenever you buy anything big or small off Amazon.com. Use our link. You will pay the same low price. We will get a small percentage of the sale. So thank you to everybody that uses it and that continues to use the link. Again, that is denspixels.com/Amazon. So not last week. Yes, it was
last week.
Yeah. Octopath Traveler released for the Switch, the highly anticipated Japanese RPG from Square that plays like a traditional 16-bit era JRPG. Me and Micah talked about it briefly last week, but we were both only a handful of hours in at that point. Since then, I have played much more. I have finished all of the first chapter stories for each character, and I've acquired each character into my party. And Carrie, I think, has played even more than I have so far.
Yeah, I'm about 25 hours in. I haven't done much as far as like the little side quests that you can do. I'm into the chapter 3s though.
Okay. So we're going to give some more robust and detailed impressions of this game, and then we will turn it over to the listeners because that's what I asked you guys about for question of the week. So we will keep it from spoilers. We might do some chapter 1 spoilerish stuff because there's nothing crazy that happens in the chapter 1s. It's really just an introduction to the character. But I wanted to talk about some of the chapter 1 storylines just because I feel like to give decent impressions of this game, you have to. I've talked a lot about the battle system, both in talking about the demo and with the impressions last week. Carrie, what are your thoughts about this very intrinsic battling system that's in this game?
It's real good. I mean, this is very much the same team that did Bravely Default, and it's a similar sort of deal from Bravely Default where you had like the brave points in order to like boost your action. I think it's literally just called like burst points or boost points in Octopath in order to either hit a character an additional time, which is useful if you're trying to break through their defenses by hitting their weakness, or to power up like a casting attack of some sort. It's really good. You sort of get into like a real rhythm with it, particularly with a lot of the boss battles. Yeah, it's really good. It's very intuitive. It's one of those things where it's really a deep, complex system, but it's very easy to sort of work your way into it. It's a lot of fun trying to balance your party going into different chapters and whatnot, and sort of making the most of what characters you have at any given time is also certainly interesting as well.
I was going to talk about that aspect too, because I can't think of a single, just the mechanics of the game have forced me to really consider party makeup, balancing different types of elemental abilities across the different thing, because nothing it's frustrating but also enjoyable when you encounter a new enemy that you've never seen before and you're just basically like throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks and which weapons or which elements will break their shield.
Yeah.
That's always interesting, and I find myself also frustrated whenever like you encounter a group of enemies and they all have different elemental weaknesses, which means that like your attack all abilities will be far less useful and not good. So it's been very cool to even encounter that more. I think the boss battles is really where this system does shine, because the boss battles have a completely different rhythm to them and a completely different like unlocking mechanism, just because the bosses are such hit point heavy counter. And I've also enjoyed how they so as you go through the chapter 1s, like the way the game is designed is that any character that you start with their encounter is able to be beaten by just that character by itself, because you don't move on to collect other characters until you get past your own scenario and then you start exploring the world. But I like how they do the difficulty scaling. So based on when you encounter a certain scenario, it might actually it'll make it more difficult if you have more people in your party. You won't just be able to steamroll over the bosses because you have a bunch of leveled characters still going up against an under-leveled character. And I don't imagine. I guess I imagine that they would do that too with the Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 encounters as well.
They do it a little bit, but not quite in as drastic of a fashion. Because it's like when you're going through the Chapter 1s, it's like you finish whatever your initial character is, who stays with you the entire game, of course.
Well, at least until you beat their story fully.
Yes, and then you can switch them out, I believe. I started with Therion, because I wanted his path action early, because it's a very useful path action, because he can steal. And so I like to be able to steal useful items off of various NPCs.
It is very weird how they don't ascribe any morality to you.
Well, it's interesting because you have 8 characters and 4 of them are very much sort of like classically heroic, and then the other 4 are a little more roguish, and they have path actions that line up with each other. So like Therion can steal, but Tessa the merchant can purchase those items off of the NPCs. So it's like, okay, well, do you want to be the good guy and just purchase something, which is giving up money, or do you want to take the chance that the people in town won't like you as much by sort of rolling the dice on a percentage and stealing the item or trying to steal the item? So that's interesting. All the path actions are really cool. I like all the characters. I don't know that there's like one character that I like really, really like above all the rest. I like Cyrus and Therion probably the most.
There are some stories that are better than others, for sure.
I would say there are, but at least at the beginning, there are some opening chapters that are like really weak.
Well, and really tropey too.
Yeah,
there are some like copy paste JRPG stories that some of the characters endure. Now, that being said, on the flip side of it, there's some very mature, like much more mature than you're expecting stories that you would imagine from.
Primrose's in particular stands out as far as opening chapters are concerned, and her story at large is, I think, the best narrative.
So the one character in the game was a noblewoman whose father was killed by this like mysterious cult, these cult figures, and so in order to find her father's killers, she goes into like basically like the seedy town with his brothel just to find information, because she heard that this one dude passes by occasionally. So for 10 years, she's basically like a stripper, essentially, just so she can wait for this dude. And like she has like a handler where they fucking talk about like, or at least insinuate like this dude definitely rapes her. Or,
oh yeah, that's explicitly insinuated.
Like when she sasses off to him, like as you're getting ready to fight this guy at the end of the first chapter, one of the lines of dialogue that he says, he's like, "Why don't you come over here and put your mouth where it belongs?" You God damn.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Japan, what the fuck?
They're not fucking around. Hers is by far the most mature, but at the other end of the spectrum, you have some like genuinely sort of light, fluffy, sort of like feel-good storylines.
On the flip side, there's this dude who's like 23 years old and he's an apothecary in town, and his storyline is literally, I'm gonna become the best darn apothecary there ever was. I have to explore the world to be an apothecary, or I'm gonna be a great merchant. It's gonna be awesome.
So Alphen, the apothecary, his storyline, not to really spoil anything, but his starts off very like light and fluffy and feel good, and definitely takes like a hard turn into some gray morality.
Well, good. I'm glad that some of the more lame stories might.
Can we talk about Hanet and the way that she fucking talks?
Oh, with that super like old English
just like totally bastardized old English. Like, I'm really glad that this game allows you to change the language settings for like the voiceover on the fly, so that I do not have to herein her speaketh when her chapters come around.
Terrence is looking weird. Yes, Terrence. Like, they literally use like the terms thouist and things of that nature.
It's bad
because it's not like she's like some, like aristocrat. Like, she's like a forest hunter.
Yeah. And so like her tribe of people all talks like that. I mean, you have very sort of like distinct dialects throughout the world, and I appreciate that because this is very much like a large world that you're exploring through these 8 different perspectives. And very much, Alphen is sort of your, southern, not quite a yeehaw good boy, but like he's certainly got a more country style of speaking than like Ulberich, who's
the character who uses the term "oh shucks."
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. There's definitely some it can get tropey at times, but like in like a good way, like not in an exhausting kind of way. It's very interesting. I mean, again, I'm moving into the chapter 3s at this point. I think I have like 2 or 3 of those left.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just at the point where I can get into the chapter 2s.
Oh, okay.
And I will say that that's another knock on the game, is that the shelf, like the step up when you get done the chapter 1s to get to the chapter 2s, grinding is not the most fun thing to do in this game, because every battle is so engaging, which sounds good until you are just going around picking fights just to level up.
Yeah.
They get a little tedious.
Exactly. You pick a character and you have to play through their origin, which is essentially the first chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically you pick one character and you go through, that's like your main guy. So like for me, Therion the thief, my main guy in this game. And after I finished his chapter 1, I could leave his starting point and start to collect the other 7 characters. So now I can access all 8 characters and play through all of their stories. But Therion, because I chose him as my main dude, he has to stay in my party for the duration of the game until I finish his chapter 4 or 5 or whatever.
And basically, Terrence, like each character has 4 chapters in their story. And each chapter, to get to the next chapter, you have to, like, they have like a recommended level. Like, you should be level 23 before you attempt to do this chapter, basically. Mm-hmm. But there's no like singular narrative, at least yet, that goes through the game. Like, these are 8 independent stories, and it's just like when you run into these people, it's just like, hey, here's the prologue to my story, and now I have to go kill this giant snake to get this antidote. I could sure use some help along the way, strangers that I just met in this town. And yeah, how they join your party, basically.
It's very JRPG in that sense. I mean, I kind of like the fact that that they don't intersect in any meaningful way as of yet. I like the fact that you sort of have these 8 different adventurers, and they are simply sort of going through the world and helping each other as they can. The travel banter that starts to pop up between characters in the chapter 2s is interesting and sort of gives perspective on how they are like interacting with each other.
That's interesting, because I haven't really gotten to the chapter 2s yet. I'm curious to see, because that's been the one thing that's been really disjointing about the game, is that since you don't have this woven narrative, is that it just seems like these dudes are just happen to be like traveling together, and they don't really interact with each other, but they're just going along doing their thing for the one character whose story it actually is right now.
Yeah.
So that's a little bizarre.
But yeah, it's really good. It's a lot of fun. God, like the music in this game.
Oh, the music's fucking.
It's so good. It's
out of control.
Like, I've been listening to the OST just like in the background at work. Like, all of the character themes are really good. Someone I retweeted it. If you follow me on Twitter, someone pointed out like the boss battle music is the same. The sort of like prologue to
boss
it
music
is
the same, but they have, but the way it works, Terrence, that each area of the map, of course, has like its own theme. So like the sand part of the map has like a very, Middle Eastern style, music that accompanies it, and then like the fucking winter part has like very like French horny style music and that sort of stuff. And when you do the chapters, there's like a little prologue that like a little thing that leads up to the boss battle when you encounter the boss, of them jawing back and forth with you, and then you fight him. But the boss music is the same no matter what. But the music that leads into the boss battle,
the sort of vamp before the music, the boss music actually kicks in, is unique to each character.
but it
like
transitions in a way that makes sense musically to get to the actual boss music. Which
it's one of those things where it's like, it's cool the first time you sort of pick up on it, even if you're not a musician. But for me, as an actual musician, I'm just like, oh, it's really good. Like it's like the music is really good. Something I didn't expect to be as good in this game was the HD rumble feature. There's a few times in this game, like, the Switch has the HD rumble where we all made fun of it because you had whatever the head of Nintendo being like the ice cubes in the glass. But like literally there are multiple times where it's like Tessa will close her book in the game and I will feel that shit in my hands, or like the tavern, the barkeeper will like set a drink down on the table and it will feel like a drink has been like sat on the table next to me. It's just, it's another level. Like it's actually using the HD rumble in a way that's like very immersive. Everything about this game is good. It's just, it's a really good game.
Can we talk about the pop culture?
Yo, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of particularly when using either Cyrus's scrutinize or Alphin's like investigate or what inquire ability, where it's like you can get little tidbits on all the NPCs. You just like ask them about themselves or whatever.
And Terrence, there was a so I was fighting the other day and I encountered a squirrel like enemy, an enemy that looked like a squirrel that had an attack that, I shit you not, is literally called These Nuts.
I'm a child. That's
the one that I was yelling about last night. Was I scrutinized like some soldier guy in a town, and literally it was like, he used to be a traveling mercenary like you, and then he took a grave wound to his knee, and I was just like, yo, are we in Skyrim? Are we playing Skyrim right now? Because it feels like I'm playing Skyrim right now.
So I love Easter eggs when they put them in like that, when they're conscious of other stuff in games. That's always fun, or just pop culture in general, and not something that I would expect from a JRPG.
Yeah. So for me, like, again, going into this, I think I mentioned it talking about this game coming out or I guess the last time I was on the show or whatever. I had concerns about Octopath Traveler because the last time that Square got me excited about a new IP that was like a JRPG with good music and an interesting art style and a cool battle system, that game was called Bravely Default. And by the time I was done with Bravely Default, I was fucking mad.com about it, because that game was such a bullshit grind fest. And I was so angry. I never finished Bravely Default. I was so mad at that game because they did that bullshit artificial inflation of the gameplay by being like, hey, so we're just going to reset the world 5 times and make you fight the same group of bosses over and over and over again until you're done. How does that sound? We'll see you in 500 hours. And so my concern was that they were doing the same thing with Octopath, getting me all excited, new IP, turn-based JRPG, but it's actually good this time. So thanks, Squeenix.
Like I said, my only big critique is I do wish that the jump from chapter 1 to chapter 2, and I'm assuming you'll have the same issue when you get to chapter 2 to 3, is a little bit more favorable. That doesn't require the biggest reason that I never got into Warrior series of games is because I fucking hate like grinding in the middle of the game. It's my absolute least favorite thing to do to progress the story. So I'm in the midst of that right now. And like I said, it too, because if you go into an area that you are under leveled for. The the regular battle music is distinctly different and done in such a way to let you know, hey kid, you probably shouldn't be here right now.
Actually, that just changes for certain parts on the map. Like when you get into like the chapter 2 areas, that's just how the battle music sounds.
I thought they were telling me to turn back because
regardless.
And my highest level character was doing like 40 damage with with his main weapon.
What I would suggest is after you finish the chapter 1s, be sure to start checking out the sort of like optional.
That's what I've been doing, the
caves and the dungeons and whatnot, because there's some good loot in there, and there's I mean, it's one of those things where you might be slightly underleveled in some of them, but it's a pretty quick way to level up your party.
So that is our thoughts. And question of the week was if you've played it.
I'll read question of the week since Mike is not here.
Well, usually I do it actually.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. Fuck you.
Justin laughs at the fact that I asked him to do a brief summation of his thoughts. He said he will type up his dissertation later. So we will have to wait to hear back from Justin. You guys can read it by going to the question of the week. So I'm sure he'll post it in there. Leonardo says his least favorite aspect of the game is that he doesn't own it because he doesn't own a Switch quite yet, even though it seems like he wants to play it. Steven says, I really want to get this game. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Looking forward to hearing opinions from the group. I can't lie, I'm getting it, but all I need is one person to tell me it's good, and then he can justify the purchase. Steven, buy it with confidence, especially if you are a fan of the 16-bit era of JRPGs, for sure. Let's see. Michael says he just got a Switch about a week ago. He bought Hollow Knight and Breath of the Wild first, but then he played the demo, and on the strength of the demo, he bought Octopath Traveler, and he's putting Hollow Knight and Breath of the Wild on the back burner to play this. So he says the conversations seem to drag on a little bit. That's JRPG in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Trey says, I love this game, but one of the things I don't like about it is that there's no huge bond between the group. Apparently that, according to Carrie, that does change a little bit as the game goes along. Yuta says, haven't played it and don't have a Switch, so he probably won't play it, but he's really intrigued. He was tired of the bullshit boy band garbage that Final Fantasy had turned into. The classic 3 headlong character proportion design is where it's at. Fuck the sci-fi boy band romance-filled newer Final Fantasy games. Give me FF6 and the underrated FF9 all day, any day. He's enjoying the graphic stuff, and he said it's the second time commenting. He wants us to know we have a small Japanese following, which is good to know. It will not cause me to slow down on my Japanese slander. Rest assured. Johnny is plugging Time Limit Draw for Fully Loaded, which you can check out on the Nerdpocalypse, or sorry, the TNP Studios network. We are momentarily hosting that show for those guys. So
is that a wrestle show?
It's a wrestle show. If you like your classic wrestling.
I forgot to mention, I had my first exposure to The Miz last week.
Oh, really?
Because he was in the celebrity softball game for All-Star Week.
Wasn't he the MVP?
He was co-MVP. He came out, he called his shot, and then he hit a double right to that spot. And I don't know anything about wrestling, but I do know that Teddy Roosevelt chokeslammed Tom and George in the president's race and then high-fived The Miz, so I assume that means Teddy is a heel now.
So
it was madness. What happened?
So Terrence, at the Washington Nationals games, they have one of the fun things they do between innings is they have a race between Teddy Roosevelt, Abe Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington, except that all of the characters are regular people wearing like mascot outfits that have giant oversized heads.
Right.
And the running joke is that Teddy Roosevelt always loses.
Well, not anymore. He wins now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a long time where Teddy Roosevelt would lose.
He didn't win until the Nats finally clinched the playoffs in 2012. So he lost for like 4 years straight. So and more than that.
Carrie, I can tell you about The Miz. The Miz is one of the great stories you like to see in pro wrestling, because when he first came on board, nobody liked him. And not because he was a bad guy, but nobody liked him because he was this reality TV star and he wasn't a very good wrestler. And he was hot-shotted to the WWE title, even beating John Cena at a WrestleMania for that title, even though of the 3 people in the main event, even though he was the champion going in and he won the match, was the least important person because The Rock was the special referee. John Cena Rock dynamic was the actual story of that match. So Miz was just a supporting player in his own WWE title match. But that's where this guy was. And through a lot of hard work and through just plugging away and keeping his nose down and working hard as shit, he has turned into quite a good wrestler and an even better character. And he's probably the best pure heel character in WWE today, which is really saying something, especially where this guy came from, 11 years ago to get where now is pretty impressive. So
yeah, one of my good buddies, Sean, who's a big time wrestle fan, I was texting him during the celebrity softball game. And he was just like, it's peak Miz, apparently, for him to have called his shot, actually hit a double, and then go on to win the MVP award for the game.
Well, so this is a guy who, like I said, he thinks he's the greatest. Like that's basically his character. He thinks he's amazing. He will conveniently ignore factual information if it doesn't fit his narrative. Because that's what he does. But he does all the little like last week, for example, like he had a mock funeral for this tag team that Daniel Bryan, his arch nemesis, currently was in. And he, like, as he was walking down to the ring while the funeral music was playing, like the procession music, he was like shaking fans' hands, but he was doing like the 2-handed, like, sorry for your loss, like handshake with everybody, which is fucking phenomenal. So, like I said, I fucking love the Miz. Miz is excellent, and that dude should be WWE champion again, as sooner rather than later. Put it to you that way. And Michael says he was bummed to find out that it was only on the Switch. It looks compelling, and he'll check it out if it ever lands on the PC. I would not hold your breath, sir.
I think the best you could possibly hope for would be a mobile port 6 or 7 years from now.
Yeah, and it'll cost way too much money.
Yep,
7 years from now because it's Square. That's how they roll. So thank you, Brian, very much for answering that. I wasn't sure. I didn't think we'd get a ton of responses, but I was curious to hear the thoughts of our listeners because I know it's been talked about a little bit in the group so far. And Terrence, thank you for hanging in through this for the discussion about this game that I know you have zero interest in whatsoever.
Like, I used to play JRPGs when I was younger.
And what's funny is that if you did have a Switch, you actually probably would really enjoy this game because it's very fun and really does harken back to like the Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI era of role-playing games. And really pretty game too, considering that they're using like sprite-based characters essentially.
Like, it runs on Unreal 4. Like, it's a sprite-based game running on the Unreal Engine. So like you have these I wouldn't say photorealistic backgrounds, but certainly like very crisp 3D backgrounds. You do get some like photorealistic water effects, which
effects are
gorgeous
for a fucking 2D based role playing game.
Right. I think it was the first time where I was in like the snowy part where you get all the like the glistening off of the snow and whatnot, where I like really step back now. It's just like, wow, this game's really pretty. It's a really nice game. I like this game.
But it's funny that because it is like a 3D engine, but they're using 2D sprites, like they still have like this dynamic camera system that happens during the battles where they'll like, twist and turn and pan the camera to show action different ways. It's very
you know what the twisting turning camera is super reminding me of the game that did that really good first. Golden Sun.
Everything comes back. Golden Sun.
And with that, I think that's the end of the show.
So if you're not our fan group, you should hop in there and join as soon as you can. It's densepixels.com/fans. We're always talking shit in there every day. It's a good time. Every 5-star review helps the podcast get discovered. So again, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. We read it on the air. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcatcher you use. And of course, we are all on Twitch. I am Dense Pixels Brad. Terrence is Apparition 410. Micah is Dense Black Nerd. And Carrie is Suffix Carrie. So that is it for us. Thank you guys very much for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.